I have never in my life done this before, ever. So insanely crazy. It would have to be God. Good morning. I've got lots of updates for you. So let's talk about the job. I mentioned I was having issues at work and I was miserable. I noticed the following week. And I said, I am still willing to make this work. But after you were condescending and rude to me, there's really no going forward from there. And so instead of saying, well, let's just try to make this work, she said, thanks for letting me know. So that was a Friday. And then I had all weekend to worry about my last week. I remember thinking, what am I gonna do? Like, she didn't really have me do anything on Friday. She didn't give me anything to do after I gave her my notice. So, I just hung out in the office. So I go in on Monday and I just had a feeling that she was gonna let me go that day. And I showed up, I tried to sign into the computer. The password was incorrect. I couldn't get logged in. I tried numerous times. I double checked the password. She changed the password because that's how you'd clock in. So I went to the one that was on the wall. I went back to my phone and I texted her and asked her if she changed the password. About a minute later, she said, yes, it was about to expire. I will be in soon. It was not going to expire. That was a lie. I knew that. I literally just changed it. I'd never had a notification that was going to expire, and she's never on that computer. So how would she know? I don't know why I was thinking, okay, I'll just sit here and wait. Good idea. So I thought, okay, while I wait, let's just go check the mail. Well, the mail has a lock key, and that key is locked in a locked cabinet. So I looked for the key for that cabinet, where I opened the drawer to get the key, and that key is gone. So I'm like, well, okay, there's really only one thing she wants to do when she gets here. I have never in my life done this before, ever. Everything in me told me, get out now. And it took me, 30 seconds to contemplate, because I thought, what if she's in the parking lot? What if? And I thought, I can't just keep sitting here and contemplating this because she could be here any second. I killed the lights. I locked the door, set my keys on the desk, and I walked out the other door. So there's no way for me to get back in. I left in the nick of time. When I walked out that door, I looked to my left, and there was a man trying to get into the office, and he just discovered that it was locked. If I waited a few seconds longer, he would have come into the office and I would have been stuck in the office. So that was a close call. That was really close. Went to my truck and I drove off. And I was shaking the whole time, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this. I cannot believe I'm doing this. But she left me with no choice. I have a second employer. I was working part-time to keep us afloat. And so I went straight to my second employer and I said, I can start full-time today. And they were able to fit me in. It worked out. And he also gave me $1 raise. Then I said, I can work extra hours. If anybody calls in, I can work it. I'm not afraid of working. I have lots of bills, not to mention food. I'm making $13 an hour at 40 hours a week. Not being able to get anything more than that. And it's a boring job. It's a grocery store. It's checkout. And this is a really small town. Like 3,500 people. And I've looked at the same places around town. The county, the city. The city just posted the same position the third time in the entirety that we've been here. And we've been here almost 2 years. I applied for that position twice. The first time I actually had an interview. The second time I had an interview scheduled, but I canceled it because I got a job with the county. And then now it's posted again, so I'm like, I don't know. And I looked at the county and I thought, there is just no way that I'm gonna get ahead. And I looked at other jobs and like there's nothing on Indeed. There is nothing available. And then I look at the city an hour north of us, which is where we go like all of our shopping, all of our errands. And there are so many jobs for much more an hour. Yeah, I can look for a second job right now, but it's such a small town. It's now gonna start looking like I'm just bouncing from job to job, and that is not what I want to look like. And if we keep going the way that we are going to sink. Hubby and I had a pretty serious conversation. Should we stay or should we go to the city? And we've actually been trying to get to the city for over a year. And it's just been tight. Housing has been so tight. We called around at different hotels. Do you do monthly rates? No. We usually are able to find decent places that can do monthly rates that are a decent amount. Nobody does monthly rates. Sam had noticed this apartment complex. We applied for it, and then when it asked for employment, we're like, crap, like they're never gonna consider us. They're gonna look at that and they're gonna think, why did they even bother? They're not gonna afford this. So we stopped. And then we called at different hotels, and I kept looking for jobs. And we just felt so defeated. We found a resort, a little cabin. We were going to pull the trigger. And then at checkout, it said with tax $3,000. That is way more than we can justify. Let's pray about this. So we prayed about it, asked God for direction. We asked God to use somebody as a vessel. We asked God to just provide a way to just show us that this is the right decision, and to be there with us. So we just came together and we were just honest about our prayer. Holy cow, this is so insanely crazy. I had to work at 7 the next morning. And I thought, okay, if I was working for a place that I could transfer, just putting myself in a scenario, if I was back in Minnesota, because we've done this before, moving out of state, moving to a different city is not our first rodeo. We've done this before. But in the past, I worked for Walgreens and I've been able to transfer seamlessly. And so I thought, that's what I did before. Let's see how this will work now. So I called a 24-hour Walgreens store and I just pitched myself. I said, I was wondering if you had any positions available. I have experience as a pharmacy tech. I am not nationally certified, but I have 2 years experience under my belt. And I come from the 3rd busiest pharmacy in Minnesota. I produce at least 1,000 scripts daily. She's like, well, we're doing 700 to 800 daily, so I think you will fit in just fine. I would need to be retrained in certain areas. $5 increase an hour. I called my husband real quick and I said, oh my gosh, and I knew I woke him up. I said, I think this is worth waking you up for this, and I think I found a job. All I was thinking about is applying for that job. When I came home from my lunch, because we get an hour lunch, I came home and he said, so that apartment complex called me, and I explained everything and explained our financial situation, that I had surgery, and they didn't seem surprised at all. And they actually go by last year's tax information. So he said, and so we're gonna view that tonight. And so I applied for the job. Once, like, the second I hit the submit application button, I called her up and I said, "Hey, I submitted it. It should be in your system now." And I said, "I'm actually going to be in the area tonight." And I told her we're going to view the apartment and I can drop my husband off and I can swing right over and meet with her. And she said that would be fine. And we went to view the apartment. Before I say, before we had even received a call from the apartment complex, Sam said, I want the corner. I want the corner. And he always wants the top floor. So we viewed the apartment and it was the top floor. Walked in and she said, "This is the corner apartment." And we looked at each other and I thought he already knew. And then later he's like, "I had no idea." I'm like, "What?" So I quickly zipped on over to Walgreens and I sat, like we shook hands. We're like, "Nice to meet you." And then I sat down and she's like, "You're pretty much on board." Like, that's great. I asked for the offer in writing and she told me I can have basically as many hours as I want. And I said, my one request is I have the same 2 days off every week. She said that's no problem. We shook hands. That was that. And went back to the apartment, showed her the paper, and it was good to go. You know, we just need to pass the background check. And we found out yesterday that we are in the clear. We are good to go. The apartment is ours. Oh, and we can take the cat. This will enable us to stay afloat. Such perfect timing because there is more opportunity. I think if we had moved there sooner, we wouldn't have appreciated it as we do now. We even prayed that night. It would have to be God. Like, it's just so impossible to move up in that city. So on Thanksgiving, this is basically my last day off before moving, and I'm hoping I can get a good chunk done.